You're listening to the CIP podcast, the Study Abroadcast, Episode 1. I'm your host, Mike LaFleur, an Education Abroad Advisor with the Center for International Programs at the University of Guelph. In this show, we explore the world of study abroad, offering advice, insights, and travel stories, bridging perspectives and cultures along the way. On this episode, we'll be speaking with two University of Guelph exchange students about their study abroad experience and some of the challenges they faced on their journey. Let's get right into it. Today on the show, we are pleased to welcome Zoe and Grace. To get started, Zoe, can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and your exchange experience?
Hello, everyone. My name is Zoe, and I'm in my fourth year here at the University of Guelph studying psychology. Last winter semester, I traveled to study at the University of Tasmania in Tasmania, Australia. Here, I got to take some cool courses like human behavior and extreme environments and global geographies of change. And I also got to do some really cool adventuring around camping, surfing, whitewater rafting, and lots of rock climbing.
Sounds good. Grace, same question. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your time abroad.
I'm Grace, and I went to the University of Canberra in Canberra, Australia in the fall 2019 semester. I am currently studying toxicology and nutrition at Guelph, and I will be completing my degree this semester. My exchange experience is awesome. I mean, I got to take so many cool courses that I wouldn't be able to take at Guelph, and being able to travel across the East Coast and everything of Australia was so pretty, and it was honestly an amazing experience.
Amazing. We look forward to delving into it a little bit further. So Zoe, how did you first hear about study abroad? And what were some general things you did to get started?
So I actually first heard about study abroad when I was still in high school. Before I even accepted to the University of Guelph, I knew I wanted to spend some duration of my undergrad degree abroad. I did have my heart set on Australia since I was maybe 16. So getting started, when I was touring Guelph University, I got familiar with the CIP office. I attended information sessions, I followed their social media, and I did lots of research on the regions I was interested in.
Sounds good. And Grace, how did your study abroad journey begin?
I only found out about study abroad in my second or third year through one of my other friends that actually went abroad, and she went to England, but I knew my parents were very strict about where I was going. They are very protective, so they wanted me to go near family, and that's where I picked Australia. And I went to all the info sessions and everything sort of offered by CIP that you have to do, and went from there.
Sounds good. I'm sure convincing family members and getting their support is all part of the journey as well. So I know that for students, there are many programs and universities to choose from. Zoe, what drew you to your host university and program?
So like I said before, I was wanting to travel since I was young, and I've had my heart set on Australia, so I've always been drawn to that area. And then once I started looking at the options that the CIP offered, I started looking into the University of Tasmania. The courses really interested me. They had great clubs and events. And also I was really drawn to the backcountry nature and wildlife that Tasmania has to offer. And I also knew no one that had gone there before. So I just felt like I was so drawn there. And that was my first option to go to.
Amazing. Now, Grace, I know you went to Canberra. What drew you to Canberra?
So Canberra is a 3-hour bus ride away from Sydney, so it was really, really close to where my cousins live. And it was just, if anything ever happened, I was really close to family, and my parents liked that. But Canberra had a lot of really cool courses as well. So because of toxicology, it's not easy to find my program in other schools, but finding courses that relate to my program in a place that I want to go was just a bonus. So I really liked that about Canberra.
Was there a moment when you moved from being on the fence to being all in and committing to the experience, and what convinced you to participate in study abroad? Zoe, let's begin with you.
So when I was applying, I was a little on the fence just because you're planning to move so far away, and this is something that I had never done before. But the day that I got my acceptance letter, I called my mom, and we were both so excited. And so I think that was the moment, like just the excitement of getting accepted and like, wow, this is real and it's going to happen. That's when I knew I was going to participate, just because how happy I was that day.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite days when the students find out where they're going. You kind of get that initial reaction from everyone. It's pretty priceless sometimes. How about for you, Grace? Well, how did you go from being on the fence to being all in?
Well, I had never been abroad alone before, so I was so nervous because I can be shy a lot, like in new environments. So that was scary, and just figuring it out with my courses because that would be my fourth year abroad and I didn't have any free electives left. Just trying to figure everything out, and then financially trying to figure out how to pay for it. There are a lot of things in the paperwork. There's a lot of paperwork and stuff that needs to be done, but at the end, it was honestly worth it. I got an email. I never submitted my application, and I got an email saying, "Hey, you didn't do this. Do you want to go abroad?" And I was like, if that's not a sign, I don't know what is. Like, so I did it, and no regrets.
I love it. Yeah, definitely following the signs in life helps you along the way. Were there any other apprehensions that you had traveling either solo or as a female, or concerns that your family or friends had expressed before you went abroad?
I know one of the concerns I had before was deciding on where to live. I didn't know anyone over there, of course, and I was the only person going to the University of Tasmania that semester. So I was kind of on my own on picking where to go. But then I ended up staying on campus, and I was really happy that I chose that option because campus had lots of events, and was able to meet and interact with lots of other people. When I told my mom I got accepted, she said that her biggest concern was how will I get from the airport to where I'm living. That there's lots of options to get from there. You can take cab, but the university did actually pick me up and shuttle me to my accommodation. So that was good.
Oh, that's amazing. It sounds pretty easy in that case if they're going to be there at the airport. I think it's a great way to welcome in students. For Grace, did you have the same apprehensions in terms of finding a place to live, or did you have other concerns that sort of crossed your mind when you were planning to go abroad?
Yeah, there were a lot of concerns. One being my parents just obviously want the best and they want me to be safe. And Canberra, they didn't know much about. My cousins that do live in Sydney did tell us it was pretty safe, so that was good. And Australia in general is really, really safe. I'm terrified of bugs and snakes and everything, so that was a big concern for me, but it worked out. Only saw minimal insects that I didn't like. But other than that, honestly, I was pretty set on saying that I wanted to go. So it was just more of the application process and stuff that intimidated me, but it was okay.
Australia is definitely known for its bugs and spiders and snakes. For me, what surprised me were the bats on the Gold Coast at night. They were huge, and I didn't expect it at all. So, in terms of safety and health, what were some of the supports that you received regarding health and safety abroad from the Center for International Programs?
Well, before departing, we did complete the PartSmart, and so that was a course length module that taught us some safe tips, gave us some information on what to do while traveling abroad, some general safety, getting like your proper paperwork done. And we do also purchase healthcare to go abroad, which is definitely good. I didn't think I was going to use it at all, and I ended up did have to visit the doctor a couple times. So good thing I had health insurance, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think people realize that incidents and accidents actually happen until it happens to you. In terms of health and safety supports, Grace, is there anything you wanted to add in terms of some of the supports that are available for students who choose to go abroad?
Yeah, pretty much the same as Zoe, but honestly, if you do have any concerns or questions, everyone in the CIP office is really well educated on how to deal with certain situations. So if you need to reach out to them, they can definitely offer some support as well. So it's really nice.
I can certainly vouch for that. The leadership team, the education abroad advisors, the peer helpers, everyone in the office is there to put safety first for our students who are choosing to go abroad. Apart from the adventures, there's also the academic side. Were there any hurdles that you needed to overcome with regards to course selection or credit transfer? How was the process for you, Zoe?
When I was selecting courses, I did try and save my electives as to be open for when I was studying abroad, just because I knew they'd be an easy credit transfer. So a science credit and a humanities credit. So I took those abroad. And then I ended up taking another psychology course as well. And I wanted to take some other psychology courses, but similar to University of Guelph, sometimes the classes get full and they have priority access, or maybe there wasn't enough students, so they didn't offer the course anymore. So when you're looking at your courses and what ones you want to take, I definitely suggest applying and looking at more than just the courses you want to do, because something might happen, maybe you need a backup, or it might not fit in your schedule.
That's definitely good advice. I know from my end, I find that the majority of students are able to get into the majority of their courses, but there's always a few courses or situations where things change, but definitely being flexible and adaptable would help. In terms of the academic experience for you, Grace, again, were there any hurdles that you needed to overcome from an academic perspective?
For me, yes. There are quite a few, because when I got there, I did have my 6 courses picked out, which were 2 extra than I needed, and I didn't get into 4 of them. So I was left with 2, and then I sort of had to scramble last minute to find courses, but it ended up working out well, and the credit transfer was easy after, especially when you talk to your guidance counselor and just keep in touch while you're there to update them on all your courses and everything.
Sounds good. The credit transfer is typically quite easy. We receive the transcripts from the host institution. We send the transcript along to your program counselor, and then students complete a post-exchange credit transfer form, and the credits are transferred. In addition to the academic side, one of the concerns students have has to do with funding and financing. How did you manage to budget and save up for the experience?
So like I had said, I'd been wanting to go to Australia for quite some time. I had been working full-time for a few semesters prior to my exchange on co-op opportunities or my summer job as a server. So I had been putting away a certain percentage of each paycheck and saving all my tips. And also OSAP is still available to you since you are still a registered University of Guelph student, and you're also able to get scholarships and bursaries from Student Financial Services.
Yeah, those are definitely great tips in terms of planning and thinking ahead and taking advantage of those scholarships and travel grants that are available. In terms of funding and financing for you, Grace, any tips or advice that you would like to share with prospective students?
Yeah, same with Zoe. Honestly, I was bartending the whole summer and putting away that money just to sort of have for my excursions and trying to get there and accommodations. My parents are also really good. They did help me pay for residence, and a lot of my family members actually helped quite a bit, which was really nice of them. And yeah, there's so many scholarships and bursaries and everything available as well. Like there's so much financial support that makes it a lot easier to go on exchange. So just looking at all of those and applying to those before you leave is a really good idea.
One thing I would just add to that, and just to clarify for students, is that they actually pay the University of Guelph tuition to the University of Guelph. So you're not paying those international fees, in case anyone was curious about that. Moving onwards, in terms of networking with other students who went abroad, were you able to connect with past exchange students to get some advice in terms of what to do on exchange or in the country?
Yeah, so the CIP actually had a social event where future and past exchange students could network with each other. We all met up. We had a little bit of an information session. We had some pizza, and then we could network and talk with each other. So I met up with a student who had been there the semester before, and we talked about campus life, getting around the city that we were living in. And we did stay in contact throughout my trip as well. So she was seeing all my stories, and she told me about some of the friends that she met. And I actually ended up meeting some of her friends that she had met. And then we got in the same friend group. So it was kind of a fun little thing that happened.
Yeah, that's a neat little side story. I love the small world of traveling and study abroad. In terms of making some connections beforehand that may have helped you, Grace, were you able to tap into the network of past exchange students?
So that was available for me. I didn't get to go to that event, but one thing that I really did like is that CIP will send you an email before you leave, and it will have all of the exchange students that are going in your year to your school. So everyone in that email sort of made a Facebook group, and we all connected. And so if we were going in the same semester, we could meet up while we were there or travel together, do whatever. There was only one other person in my semester that went to Canberra, and I didn't end up actually meeting him there, but I know that a lot of friends that I made knew him as well. So it was kind of, we all knew each other in a way.
I think one thing I would reiterate is that students don't have to go through this alone. There's so many networks and channels to connect with past exchange students, and all the supports that are available along the way. I know that we're coming now to the end of the podcast. Are there any other tips or advice you would give to those students who really want to go abroad but are currently on the fence?
Some of my tips would definitely just be, it's an amazing opportunity and it's something that you'll remember for the rest of your life. So if you are able to take it, I suggest taking it. You're going to have such a good time. I got to knock so many things off my bucket list and try so many new things. And I just generally had such an amazing time. That was probably one of my best semesters with the University of Guelph, was actually when I was studying abroad.
It sounds amazing. Grace, how about you? Any final words to help students make the decision to go abroad?
Yeah, honestly, like, you do make a lot of new connections. And for me personally, for the future, I met some professors that are actually willing to give me reference letters and everything for my master's and other programs, which is really nice. And just being able to go, like, it's just such a crazy experience. Like, you don't realize that it's even happening, and it goes by so fast, and it's such an incredible opportunity. And I didn't realize how much I wanted to go until I got accepted. And I think there's actually a picture of me crying on the CIP Instagram. So definitely go look at that in one of the highlights. It's amazing. I would recommend it for everyone. Just do it.
Yeah, like everything I was nervous about before I left was when I was there. It was such like a surreal feeling. It was so amazing. I remember I was nervous about all the spiders. My friend was telling me about them. The second day I was there, alone in my room, the biggest spider I've ever seen. But I conquered it, got through it. So every day you experience new things. So it's an amazing opportunity.
I think for a lot of students, that idea of pushing themselves outside of their comfort zones and overcoming challenges is a big part of the journey. So thank you, Grace and Zoe, for sharing your insights, advice, and travel stories. That's all for today's episode of the Study Abroadcast. Don't forget to explore your own study abroad opportunities on the CIP website, UofG/CIP, or follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Our Instagram handle is CIP_Guelph. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned to our next episode, where we look to unpack the study abroad experience even further.